For those of you who are watching, my name is Toby. I am 41 years old and I'm training to live an active, self-sufficient and adventurous life. And I'm not on my mat this morning and I'm not with my kettlebells because I lost some sleep last night because of a restless child. It was a bit too warm in the room because it went up from 0 degrees to, what can I say, 0 degrees to 10 degrees. It's about 7 degrees right now, which means that the duvet was too warm, the room was too warm, everything was too warm. And there was a lot of noise last night. So I ended up not waking up at 5 like I usually do to go out and do a strength workout before the run, but I actually ended up having to just chill and relax while I took a bit more sleep than I would have otherwise gotten, and because of that, feel a lot more rested and ready to go out for a run. So I'm going to have a glass of water, a cup of coffee, and I'm going to head out. I try to be prepared or be ready for that fit and healthy lifestyle, or feel fit and capable and competent for life by minding my sleep. So try to get between 7 and 9 hours, and I think that should be absolutely the most important thing in my arsenal of getting fit and healthy. Then I try to work on what I eat. So I actually made a short yesterday. I'm going to track my calories for a while to understand actually how well my grasp is on food. We're going to talk about that in a bit because I usually try to eat within my energy balance, which I think is between 2200, give or take, calories in a day. Probably a bit more, but that is the amount that I should consciously be eating to kind of stay at the same weight. Then I try to eat 120 to 150 grams of protein. And then I do kettlebell training, strength training, kettlebell training, conditioning training, and mobility exercises. And I also go out for one, and I would like to increase that to 2 runs in a week. And that whole package taken together with the fact that I try to spend time with people I love and care about, I try to do things that I enjoy, and I generally try to live a stress-free life. Should amount to me staying fit, competent, capable, healthy in the long run, in any case. So that's what I'm up to this morning. It's 7:21, which is late for me to be streaming, so I doubt any of the regulars will be up, but you might catch this video at a later time. I am having a cup of coffee. I am going to do some stretches, and after the stretching is done, I am going to do a short warm-up outside and go for a run, probably about 60 minutes this morning, to also somewhat use the time. Otherwise I would be active for probably an hour and a half, 90 minutes to 2 hours. At least want to have that 1 hour of activity on Sunday morning. So let's talk very briefly about calorie counting and understanding food and nutrition. First and foremost, if calorie counting stresses you out, just don't do it. All right, very simple. Very simple rule, very simple way to look at life is if it causes you stress, anxiety, doesn't bring you any positive results, and actually from experience or as you're doing it, notice that you are being funneled into a calorie deficit and a stressful situation for your mind and body, it's probably better not to go there. I have tracked calories several times throughout my life. I've used different apps to do it, and for me it's always a net positive. I find it confronting, I find it educational, and I find it useful because it actually does always show me prove the point that when it comes to maintaining weight or weight management and changing the composition of my body, nutrition is a big part of that equation. And to be very honest, like, I set the calorie counter at a relatively strict number, 2,000, which would equate to a deficit in my world. And I was just eating the things that I would normally eat, and already in adding them to the calorie tracking app, which, by the way, since the last time I used it was before ChatGPT became a thing, before LLMs became a thing, has improved tremendously. You can take pictures of foods, and it will not only tell you the type of food, but it will also relatively properly estimate the portion size of some things, which I thought was really impressive. But knowing what I know about LLMs, probably relatively simple and easy for it to do that. So just by eating the things I was eating already, by putting them in, I was seeing that, oh, I'm going to hit that calorie goal relatively quickly, which probably means that generally, day to day, I am eating well over 2,200 calories, which is my max, and that's completely fine. I have no issue with that, because I am relatively active, right? I have my 30 to 45 minutes of kettlebell, which is relatively intense, 3 times a week. I have my run once a week. I have the mobility exercises 3 times a week, which are not that intense, but it's still movement. I go for walks throughout the day. I take the stairs. So I have a relatively active lifestyle overall that I'm trying to support. Still, if my long-term health goal is to maintain my current body weight, maybe recomposition a little bit, which is why I work out with strength and with kettlebells, right? Lifting heavy things to build more muscle in favor of soft tissue fat mass, then nutrition is going to have to be a good part of that equation. So using the calorie tracker for a day was a wake-up call in terms of how focused I was on my nutrition, and despite having very healthy breakfast habits, very healthy lunch habits, very healthy dinner habits, you know the stories about the sugar-coated almonds and chocolate-covered hazelnuts at my office, for example. I also have a huge sweet tooth, and I think I had started to take to snacking a bit too frequently and a bit too liberally, as in every day, more than once. And I'm going to force myself to track that for a week, because one of two things are going to happen. Either I'm going to give up on the tracking because it's too confronting, or I am going to use it as a tool to actually understand that, well, if I'm now eating this, I'm going to have to skip on dinner, or on all of the wholesome things for dinner is a better way to put it, because they're both calorie rich, calorie dense. But there are so many calories in this snack that I am going to definitely overshoot my my calorie budget by too big of a budget. And is that really what I want to do? So those are a couple of the things that I will be looking for this week as I track. Because again, I focus on Eddie. Good morning. Thanks for dropping by, saying hi. Hope you're well where you are in the world. And I appreciate you taking time to say hello in the chat. So when I say it's about sleep, it's about nutrition, and it's about training, I think you can see pretty much what I'm doing in training. It's a bit hard to make a podcast or a live stream while I'm sleeping. Well, I could live stream while I'm sleeping, but one, very boring live stream. Two, I'd rather not. And then we have nutrition, and I also don't like making videos of what I eat or while I'm eating, but I think it's important to talk about food and the role food plays in this idea of living a long and healthy life, free from disease and discomfort. Is one of the things that I always talk about, right? And that is that we want to use food as a source of fuel, as a source of pleasure, as a source of socializing, and as a source of nutrition in terms of feeding both our bodies and our souls and our social life, keeping us healthy overall. And there are trade-offs that we need to make, right? If food is a social function, then I'm not too worried about how well it's fueling or how nutritious it is, because it's probably going to be tasty, rich, and there's going to be a lot of it, I guess I would say. But if it is fuel and nutrition specifically for sports and for performance, I'm going to be minding it a lot more, and that means we need to educate ourselves on it. Now, there are two ways to educate ourselves on food. One, we can, well, there are a couple of ways actually, not just two. We can start reading the packages and the labels, but we need to understand what macronutrients are, micronutrients, salt content, fiber content, all those little things that we might gloss over, and also understand the difference between fresh foods from the market, from the fishmonger, from the poulter, from the butcher, from the farmer, versus, hey there, YouTube punk. See, I told you it's my kitchen. Hey Justin, thanks for dropping by, saying hi, hope you're doing all right. We can read the labels. I was just talking about food and nutrition. We can read the labels. We can read up about foods either online, like in the app I'm using, or on the dietary pages that the government puts out, where all different types of foods are listed. You can find certain cookbooks or certain creators who create meals and foods, whether that's vegan, vegetarian, omnivorous, carnivorous. All different kinds of foods are out there, and you can study them and learn what is the content of the food, what is in that food, what people think are the benefits of eating certain food versus not eating certain foods. I have tried all different types of diets, except for pure meat only. I have never tried that. I also don't think I would fare very well on that. I like my vegetables. So you can do that, and you can start tracking your own food, because by tracking your own foods and trying to understand how much energy you need for the day, how different types of foods that you currently have in the house, that I currently have in the house, can be combined to create those packages of nutrition for the day, it is actually going to show very quickly where there are certain wins and where there's space to, I guess, improve and learn about what food can do for us as people who are trying to stay fit and healthy as we progress through life, as we turn 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65. The point of all of this is that nutrition matters. We've actually never talked about it. Maybe I should talk about it a bit more. Maybe this is a good setting to talk about it. I don't know. I'm trying something new here, standing in my kitchen and talking to you. You might have seen the videos. And it also just happened to be time and space today where I found 10 to 15 minutes to actually do it this way. It is now 7:32 a.m. Eddie, YouTube Punk, Justin, thanks for dropping by, saying hi. I appreciate that a lot, actually. I'm going to go for a run. Next, I'm going to have my coffee and go for a run. But I thought it would have just been prudent to talk about and share some insights and idea on about how I'm approaching food. Too much food because there's a lot of sugar, but it's natural. Wouldn't it be better than processed sugar? Good question. I like that question. I'm looking for the sugared almonds. They are all at the office. We don't keep any of that stuff at home. My mother, and I love her to death, always gives me a pack of Oreos for my birthday because she knows I love them, and I cannot open a pack of Oreos without eating all of them. But let's take a look at Justin's question about sugar, actually. It's a very good question. Sugar is sugar in the end in our body, and don't believe me on it, look it up online, but this was also part of the course that I took to become a certified personal trainer. Sugar is sugar. Doesn't matter what you consume it in, your body transforms it into energy and glucose. The challenge with sugar is, and that's why dietary guidelines, for example, here in the Netherlands, don't put a maximum on sugar, a maximum amount, is that sugar is ubiquitous. All foods contain sugar. So if you start to count just sugar as a macronutrient, it becomes a challenge to understand, well, where does sugar start negatively impacting my health, right? It's a form of, it's fuel, it's a form of energy, it's something that we can use to burn to actually deliver outputs. For example, when I go out running right now and I would be tired after 20 or 30 minutes and I would take a spoonful of kitchen sugar or a dextrose cube or a banana, it would all be transformed into basically the same energy, and I would probably be able to continue running and feel that I was fueled up and ready to go. But the challenge with sugar is that we've started to add it to a lot of things. So there are a lot of products that are processed that contain lots of sugar. Someone's waking up, so I'm going to have to get off the stream in a moment. And it is not the presence of sugar in the natural foods that we eat, even though that provides adequate amounts of sugars for the energy requirements we have, but it is then all of the sugar that we start adding on or into foods, so into breads, into cereals, into treats, into, I know people put like sugary things into pasta sauces and God knows what, or into soups, and so you get this abundance of sugar, which is very calorie rich, and then suddenly you're overachieving that calorie goal. For example, if mine would be set to 2,000 and there would be sugar, there would be 50 grams of sugar that I'm consuming on top of the sugars that are in my general diet in breakfast, lunch and dinner, then those extra 50 grams would definitely push me over my calorie budget and calorie limit for the day. And I think that's where a large part of the challenge with sugar kind of lies. So Justin, if that makes sense to you, I'm happy that that clarifies. David M, hey, thanks a lot. I am doing well. I hope you're doing well. I was actually just jumping on the stream before going out for a run because I overslept a little bit this morning due to some unforeseen evening circumstances. And we were just talking about sugar, and I can see, Justin, that kind of put it into context. So I hope that helped. There are a lot of good videos on it. Lane Norton has a strong opinion on it, but I do share his opinion. There's nothing necessarily wrong with sugar. We just need to be mindful about the total proportion of sugar overall. And again, coming back to that calorie budget and then the macronutrient split that we're trying to have. Thanks. You have a good day as well. Yeah, we don't have that much high fructose corn syrup here in the Netherlands. And actually, my ketchup has some sugar, but not that much sugar. I find it between. So if I had mayonnaise, ketchup, and mustard on the table, I think mustard would be the most calorie efficient tastemaker, but I would generally prefer ketchup, or ketchup and mustard on my fries, actually. Yeah, I know. There's a challenge there. So anyway, I thought interesting conversation. Let me know if this is a kind of a setting and a thing I should do more often. Maybe just standing in my kitchen and talking, having a cup of coffee and talking about nutrition and other things that we need to be mindful of other than lifting kettlebells and going for runs. Friends, remember, I'm 41 years old. I'm trying to live an active, self-sufficient and adventurous life. I'm trying to stay free of disease and discomfort as I grow older, and I want to remain competent and capable for whatever life throws at me. If that's something you're interested in, and when you see this video, you go ahead and check out my channel and maybe subscribe, hit the like button, see what other videos are out there. And Eddie, YouTube Punk, David, Justin, I appreciate you dropping by, saying hi. Remember, we're good just the way we are. We've got to love ourselves before we can move on, and the only way to get anything done is by showing up and doing the work. So I am going to catch you tomorrow. Take care, friends, and thanks for dropping by.